Good to see you.
Yes, Rinpoche. You look good.
He's usually there, Rinpoche. He's usually
Yeah, I don't see him.
but usually hiding.
He's hiding. Okay.
But he's usually there.
Okay. I see Jenny. And
yeah, Rinpoche.
yeah, then
Good to see you.
yeah, very good to see you.
Yeah, thank you for continue teaching.
Yes.
Rinpoche, usually the video camera is very expensive, so they don't turn on.
Okay, that's why. Yeah, I heard Malaysia is very expensive.
Yes. So they don't turn on their video. They don't let us see their faces.
Now I see Scoot and Melissa and Paul Palmer. Good morning, Paul Palmer. And good morning, Stephen Malaysia.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenshin.
Linda, can you show Rinpoche the arrows to on his screen so that he can click and see other people?
Yes, I saw.
Yeah. If you click there, Rinpoche, then you'll see more people.
It's okay now.
Maybe just their names. Their camera might not be on.
So right now we have 8 people.
Bauer just turned up.
Yes. Bauer is usually there.
Captain Ong just turned up in Singapore.
So now we'll just start the opening prayer. Yeah.
Anila, have you been assigned that task?
I shall assign it to myself, not a problem.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. All Mother Sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will I establish them in a state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Buddhahood. All Mother Sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will I establish them in a state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Buddhahood. All Mother Sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will I establish them in a state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to Bodhichitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I, too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to Bodhichitta, and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I, too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to Bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all other sentient beings. May all other sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all other sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all other sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Unequaled refuge, ornament of the world, your fame pervades the 3,000 worlds. You are the victor, Vajradhara, without a doubt. I bow at the feet of the Father, Jigten Sundan. Continually I think of no one but you. Compassionate one, grant your blessings. Dispel the darkness that surrounds my heart. Please bless me so that I realize the unelaborate nature of mind. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It's adorned with the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha field. To the lamas who possess the 3 kayas, I offer the outer, inner, and secret offerings with my body, wealth, and all that is visible. May I realize the ultimate, please grant me the supreme realization, enlightenment. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confessions, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of enlightenment of all mother sentient beings, all this I dedicate. Om Guru Devada Kini Ratna Manmala Pratitsa Soha. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combinations according to the disposition and likewise the mental capacities of sentient beings.
Hello, everybody. We are so fortunate to have this opportunity to reflect on the wisdom and the compassion of the Buddha. As just reminding, and as we know, everybody desire for free from suffering, and everyone's desire to have peace and happiness. So this is not a Buddhist idea or philosophy. It is universal. And having said that, this how we can achieve peace and happiness, how we can free from the suffering, there's so much depends on the causality. It's also universal, as we know. Whether we believe or not, whether we accept or not, but practically our life is functioning within that. Everyone keep busy because of this. We are doing something to help ourselves, to free from suffering, to achieve peace and happiness. Whether it's day-to-day life, or for many years, or for next life, whatever. It's all, everything is constituted within the framework of the causality. So that's the reality. So here, what we are studying, practicing, is what Buddha taught. What Buddha taught means Buddha is the one who thoroughly, completely purified all the obscurations, mental delusions, which are the hindrance for peace and happiness. So Buddha totally took care of that and then purified all the causes of the suffering. So that's what we call Buddha. So Buddha came over 2000, about 600 years. So Buddha's teaching is nothing to do with the culture, or belief system. Buddha taught as a reality nature. Because of that, at that time, what Buddha taught was still in the 21st century is so relevant, perfectly makes sense. There's nothing to change in that. What we have difficulties is we don't have enough wisdom to penetrate that meaning, or to understand the meaning, or to translate the meaning. So sometimes people say, oh, no, we need to change something, So we need to change the cultural system, that which maybe, like say, the culture system of the 19th century is maybe not relevant now in the 21st century. That's the culture, culturally related. And maybe some belief system maybe need to change. But otherwise, the cause of suffering is the cause of suffering at the time of Buddha, what the taught. The cause of peace and happiness, that what Buddha taught, is still is cause for peace and happiness. So that, you see, related to our mind. The mind is the most difficult to understand. Even this 21st century, great scientists, they are facing such difficulties on this subject. No, they are just they know there's something, but they cannot tell what about that. So they just talk about the brain. Brain is the mind's, It's very obvious, mind is a little bigger than brain. And brain is matter, as I mentioned before, it's a matter. And the mind is cognitive consciousness, luminosity, clarity. See, it has such a kind of a sense, consciousness, mind, consciousness, cognitive, these things, you see, they are not matter, they are conscious, they are mind. So we have to have this true understanding. The mind cannot understand through machine. So make sure we understand. Because machines are matter. The matter cannot measure the mind. Mind can measure the mind. Mind can measure the matter, but not the matter can measure the mind. See. So that Buddha teaching is so precious because it's teachings about about the mind. The mind has infinite display. Even in the confused state, within the confusion state, the mind can manifest endless thoughts. As well, when we realize that nature in the enlightened state has also infinite. So that's why it's neither exists nor non-exist. It's beyond our measurement. So that what Buddha taught, and that's what we have to focus. That's why we need to meditate. If it is just matter, what we need to do meditation? No, it's just matter. No. Since the mind is constantly moving all the time, at the same time, we don't find where it is. So that's why we need to meditate, reflect. It's called training, mind training. So all the suffering in the samsara is come out from the confusion, from the mistake we made. So as you know, the basic in what Buddha said is the 4 distorted mind. Everything is impermanent. Everything exists within the core function with many causes and conditions. Like this, our 5 skandha body. The 5 skandha body is a combination of many causes, many factors, but we're holding as one. One individual, unique. So this one is called one confusion. We're confused on that. See. Then next, our body, this we have, is really nature. Is now you can see. Nature of the suffering. See. The day we're born, then we're aging. We're getting sick. Then we die. So all this, but we're holding something, happiness, perceiving something, happiness, joy. So this is another confusion. So therefore, we all the time make effort, to free from the suffering without ending. Then this body, what we have, is something like, when I said it's a little disgusting, say, all the source of the hours, say, unclean is this from this body. But we are perceiving something very clean. That's why we have to wash every day, Every day we have to wash, especially when there's hot weather. Then we have to take shower twice, 3 times, So I smell you, So you say, but still we think it's so clean, Then we say, you are so not clean, There's dirt on your nose. So this is one thing. So the third, the fourth, there's no self to this. Because of this, you see, there's no self, means some kind of a permanent identification. There's no permanent identification, self, something like me, I. So these 4, how do you look at this? So now when I say this, please don't feel bad about it. Say, he's talking just disgusting things. When you study Dharma, these are very important. You can't hide, If you hide, we cannot free from samsara, you see. In the political world, you have to hide a lot of things, So he's very diplomatic, But in the Dharma practice, we can't be so diplomatic, We have to express the reality check, you see. So these the 4 in the samsara, everywhere you see, we have to see it directly. Then see, we can do something, you see. First of all, we can purify our ignorance, you see. Then we can purify our attachment. Then we can purify our aversion. So these, 3 mental poisons, just I'm reminding, we all know this. If we kind of say, express it directly, what it is, then there's a space how we can work to free from all these mental delusions. So that's our Dharma practice. That's what Buddha taught us, how to free from suffering, you see. So that's why Buddha has such great wisdom, as well as great compassion. Wisdom, knowing all this, how samsara is constituted, and where we are just going through all this suffering. So Buddha revealed about that, why we are suffering, Then the cause of suffering, mental delusion. Or mental delusion means all contrived, artificial, all this, the contrived, fabrication, artificial, try to hide, try to be very nice. Underneath is rotten, So we have to dig out all the rotten, smelly, all this. Then you can see how we can work about it, how we can do it about it. So this is the first, very important. Then sometimes we say, everything is emptiness. No, we hide or under the emptiness, under the Mahamudra, we hide everything. Then we can't get out of that, you see. So that's the first, these things. These are all so important. That's why in the Bodhichitta Avatara, the chapter 8 describes so precisely, Shantideva. Sometimes you don't want to read it, it will offend to somebody, Maybe people will not like this. So that's why a lot of teachers, they don't want to talk about these things. So say, be kind, be nice, be compassionate. We talk about only that, We don't talk about the root cause of the problem, suffering, So until we get rid of the root cause of the suffering, no matter how kind we may be, we cannot get out of the suffering, you see. So I'm just, even though some may not like it, but I'm sharing this so that we can work on it. That's the Dharma study, practice, the wisdom. So first these things we reveal, the 4 distorted fabrication, idea, this, and this is on. And from there, we have every reason we take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Then we have every reason to cultivate such a great loving kindness, compassion to all sentient beings. Then your compassion really powerful. You can see Samsara is fabricated, artificial. It's not the reality nature. Or you develop such a powerful compassion, unmoving. We're fully convinced that. And from there, we have total, mental capacity to develop bodhicitta, unwavering, to free from samsara and to achieve enlightenment. So until we dig this distorted mind, the fabricated mind, we always go back to the samsara, Again and again. Sometimes you feel, oh, Dharma is so precious. I like Dharma, but we're not convinced. So if we just dig the root cause of this samsara, how this 4 distorted, still I have not explained all the details, just touch the topic, so you have to touch these topics more and then develop such a great compassion, loving kindness, and then cultivate the bodhicitta, the mind for enlightenment. That what it means, purifying all our mental delusions, the 3 poisons. You see, as other days we just touch on the subject, you see, relation with the 3 trainings. In the absence of the attachment, the morality is found, well established. In the absence of the aversion, the samadhi is well established, stable. In the absence of the ignorance, the wisdom awareness is fully kindled. You see, these 3 training, we cannot perfect or accomplish Well, we're keeping these three portions under the ground, underneath. If we want to free from this, if we want to really practice the three training, we have to purify the three portions. Now, these are nothing to do with the monks or nuns or lay people. Everybody, anybody who wants to free from samsara, you see, wants to achieve enlightenment. So there's no, as I mentioned, there's no negotiation. You see? Sometimes we like to negotiate, you know. What about if I do this much, it's okay. You see, we have to take care of all the cause of suffering. No? Where we are keeping some part of cause of suffering, then we expect all the happiness and joy. I think it's not possible. This is the Dharma teaching. We need this in this world. You see, all the problem in the world, just look around. In the family, in the state, in the country, all over the world, you see, it's only this, you know, mental afflictions. First, ignorance. Then, because of ignorance, self-grasping. When there's a self-grasping, there comes the greed, pride, aversion, jealous. All this, you see, all the mental, that's what it's called, conflict, affliction. Why it is afflicts? It afflicts with a peace and happiness. It afflicts clarity of the mind. So until we take care of these things, it will be very difficult to achieve real peace and happiness. Doesn't matter what religion you believe. All come down to these three portions, you see. It's a universal. That, you see, it amazes the Buddha's teaching. How Buddha explained about these things. So we have to have a nerve to scrutinize this, to reveal this. We have to have a great skill in the mind how to communicate with this. So these are some basic important things. Usually I repeat, you know. Then here we are practicing bodhicitta. You know, there's a relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. Those two first you please understand. And then in the relative bodhicitta, there's called aspiration bodhicitta and the action bodhicitta. The aspiration bodhicitta is developed on the base on loving kindness, compassion. You love all the sentient beings from your heart. So that's why I say that the sign of the love is the heart. So your heart goes to all the sentient beings. You want all sentient beings, including your family, your friends of the country. You want them peace and happiness. So that's the love. Yet they are not free from suffering. They have suffering. So you develop compassion to free from the suffering. Then you ask when they will have complete peace and happiness. You ask the question when they can free from the suffering. So when you achieve the Buddhahood, the enlightenment, No? So to attain Buddhahood, we need to develop Bodhichitta, so that you aspire to achieve Buddhahood. That's called aspiration Bodhichitta. Because you know, when one attains the Buddhahood, that's the state free from all the suffering and has the complete peace and happiness. That's called you aspire to achieve Buddhahood. Now we ask, just cultivating aspiration Bodhichitta, are you Buddha or are you become Buddha? No, not yet. Now what we should do to attain Buddhahood? Then say action Bodhichitta. Means put, sometimes called engagement. You engage in the action. So cultivate action Bodhichitta. Means creating the cause. So what to create the cause? No, to purify all our mental afflictions. We need to work. So how to purify my attachment? How to purify my aversion? How to purify my ignorance? You see, I cannot order my friend or say, you get rid of all your mental afflictions. No. So you are so bad, you should not do that. Then the person will ask, what should I do? No. So you are so stupid, you know. So what do you mean? No. What have you done? So then you've done this. So you have to purify all this. Then we have to follow the path step by step. See? Nobody can force to get rid of your mental afflictions. Even nuclear bomb, guns, they can kill other people, but they cannot kill our mental afflictions. No. So mental afflictions to purify is the Buddha's wisdom. That's why now here, see, we have this, you know, that's called action Bodhichitta. So that's why there comes all this method, you see, everything is impermanent. We need to understand the others. We need to know how to wear others' shoes. These practices, so precious. It's not a religious training. Sometimes we say this religious training. If we go so to this mantra has great power, you know, say this prayer has a great power, and you chant mantra. The mantra will take care of all the problems. This prayer will take care of all the problems. Then we just have such a high expectation with the mantra, the strong prayers. Or sometimes some deities' mantras, you know. But if you don't have the cause, if you don't have the created the cause, no matter how powerful they are, very difficult. Even Buddha cannot do that. No, Buddha just said, just follow, practice what I said. No. So these are called causality. We can say karma. It's action. All the actions we put, every action we do, it counts. We cannot ignore any single action of the body and mind. So through these practices, now today here we have this, you see, Tonglen is giving, after we say mention, you know, after practicing cultivating aspiration bodhicitta, action bodhicitta. Now giving, taking is the action bodhicitta. Now here's it. With a positive attitude means sometimes we do things right, but then we have negative attitude, not proper attitude. So we have to make our mind in the right place. So with the positive attitude of loving kindness and compassion, I give to the downtrodden with the courage. Sentient beings of 6 realms, all my happiness and root of virtue without reservation. So this is the actual practice of love and compassion. You just sit where you are. Now while I'm talking, you can meditate. Where you are, say, I give my love to every sentient beings. Those I know, those I don't know, or even those who hate me, I give my love, loving kindness to all the sentient beings, so that they may have peace and happiness. So just meditate on this, you see. Because sentient beings are the object of our practice of love, or loving kindness. Without sentient beings, we cannot practice loving kindness. I cannot practice my loving kindness on a piece of rock. You see, if you say, put a piece of rock in front of you, then if you say, I'm practicing love with my rocks, people think you are crazy, you know. So you practice loving kindness to all the sentient beings, you see. Now who gets the benefit? The practitioner. Because you purify all your mental obscuration. You see, at that time, your anger, your attachment, your pride, your jealousy, you are purifying these things. And you know all sentient desire for peace and happiness. And you purify your ignorance, you see. So then you just see yourself, I'm the service for all the sentient beings. That you practice where you are. At your place, doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to go anywhere. You just meditate on that, practice that. And you take a deep breath, purify all your mental afflictions. Then after that, you see sentient beings are suffering. Those who you know, those you love, those you don't know, those who hate you, everyone does have suffering. So then you wish all sentient beings free from suffering. That's called practice of compassion. And that compassion is called to all the sentient beings. You practice that. And that takes care of our resentment, aversion, our attachment. You see? This is how it practices, you see. So you give your love and compassion to all sentient beings. It doesn't cost anything. It just makes your heart strong, brave. Then you rejoice about this practice. Oh, I'm so fortunate I have this practice. Now I can do this practice anywhere. while I'm driving, while I'm sitting, while I'm eating. No. So in that mind, there's no enemy is there now. Everyone becomes, so you can see everyone is like your best friend, your mother, your sister, your brother. You see, just meditate on this. So he said, no reservations, you have opened your heart fully. Get rid of your self-cherishing. Say, I'm just one person. All sentient beings are countless. Just meditate. This is what's called, the absolute cause to purify all mental afflictions in the relative state. As the other day I mentioned, this relative state of practice is so important. Up until now, I use sentient beings for my success, for my achievement, to gain myself. But I was not successful because still I'm in the samsara. Now from today, I use myself for other sentient beings' benefit. I want to be service to all. And just meditate on this practice. So that you see, the next, say here now, with the natural manner of brave heart minds. Natural manner means not artificial. Very sincerely. With a brave heart, we need a courage. Need an indomitable courage to practice the Bodhichitta for all sentient beings. Heart mind. I receive into my mind stream every one of the qualities of abandonment and realization of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, you see. I will take all the qualities of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, just as mentioned above, loving kindness, compassion, Bodhichitta, and then coming, the practice of the 6 paramitas. I will take all their qualities in order to benefit all sentient beings, you see. You need a courage. Said, I can do it because I have the precious human life. The precious human life makes the best condition to free myself from all the suffering. Precious human life has all the condition to benefit all sentient beings. So meditate on this, practice on this. And it's such a precious thing. It opens your heart to embrace all the Buddha's excellent wisdom, compassion, the qualities. There's much more. I'm just bringing a few topics so that we can meditate on this. Otherwise, if you know that our Dharma centers, We individuals there have such some strong sense of ego. I'm much better than you are. No? And there's a lot of problems, you see. So to transcend all these problems, we have to practice this kind of method. No? May I be service for all sentient beings. No? Just take the example of the Buddha himself. Once Buddha enlightened in Bodhigaya, every day Buddha went for baking food, lunch. He didn't establish a kingdom, a very rich building. No. He just has a very simple place to sleep. And every day he just go for benefit sentient beings. And he eats the lunch by baking, So Buddha attained Buddhahood. Otherwise, he deserves very expensive mansion, palace, no? So the Buddha can say, I'm enlightened, You all have to serve me, Bring all these precious things. With a lot of bodyguards, all this, But Buddha didn't have any of those things. Look at these, how that brought benefit, the benefit in the lives of the individuals in the world. That's why there are some great teacher who has the great wisdom, brought the Buddha's teaching to all these different countries. So we should follow Buddha's step. Like Marpa, he went to India 3 times by himself, taking all his possession on his back, shoulder. He walked day and night. See? So look at the lifestyle of the great masters of our past. Milarepa, Gambupa, like those great teachers. So they took all the Buddha's teaching into their heart with a brave mind, practicing their life. See? So this is how you meditate, practice, and we can get such great benefit, and we can make the difference in the world. See? So that's why the Buddha and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, past, present, future, all they followed that, and they practiced that. So I will also follow them in their footsteps. Then next said, in samsara, from beginner's time through today, so from beginner's time up until now, in this 21st century, the sole cause bringing suffering is always my own. So, as mentioned, this 4 distorted point, especially the self-grasping, self-cherishing, self-promotion. This is a self-promotion, self-grasping. See, then, self-fixation. Fundamental non-knowing means the great ignorance. Everywhere you can see in the world. Even though everybody has self-cherishing, But some are more than others. Some who has greater self-fixation suffer more, you see, because there's a lot of obstacles. So much obstacles they face, and they're suffering so much. And people don't like that, you know. Even though I have like myself, you know, here, I'm cherishing myself, but I don't like people who are promoting themselves, you know. You see, I like people who have less, you know, less, you know, grasping the self. I like people who are sharing more, you know. I appreciate that more. Even though I have my own self, but I don't have wisdom to see myself. That's my problem, you know. So I have to see my own problem. It's very easy to see others' mistake, but it's very difficult to see my own mistake. Because whatever I do, I think where I'm doing is just, you know, I'm doing the right thing. I don't make mistake, no. Until somebody points me, you know. When somebody points me, it's very painful. No, I don't like it. You see. So we have to have a flexible mind to see that and meditate. So these Dharma practice, you see, all these teachings to purify our mental delusions and to replaced by loving kindness, compassion, patience, courage, you know, the wisdom, see. So I release this self-grasping, self-flexation, self-fixation. I release this right now without a second thought. So make that determination. So, you know, first you start that. From today, I committed to release my self-grasping, self-cherishing. And we follow every day that path, step by step, without changing. But as I mentioned, first we need such a great conviction. Because self-fixation, self-craving is a toxic. It's a mental toxic that ruins your mental peace, happiness. It brings the suffering. But if you practice more love and compassion, people will respect that. People admire that. So we should, you know, follow the path that way. So that's to say, this is such some very important way. I will release this mental toxic, the self-fixation, self-craving right now, today, now, without doubt. I have no fear, you see, because all the fear comes from self-cherishing. When we have self-cherishing, then there's more fear. What will happen next for me, you know? But if there's no self-fixation, one is free from all the fear. So in the relative state, first we practice this. No, minimize this. Then with that, if we practice the Mahamudra, it's very effective. Mahamudra will help us to uproot totally. But otherwise, as other day mentioned, while you are practicing Mahamudra, our ego becomes greater. So I am a Mahamudra practitioner. I am a Vajrayana practitioner. Our ego becomes bigger, stronger. You see? So that kind of practice, it didn't bring the benefit. So in the relative first, we take care of this all step. Then Mahamudra practice will really help us. So that's it. Okay, then next. So these all, I'm just, as mentioned, I'm just talking. So please meditate on this. You see, reflect on this. Well, you're getting understanding. It's very simple. It's not a very complicated philosophy. It's very simple. Just simply, you just need to reflect, meditate on this. Yes, it makes sense. Yes, now I can do it. See, I must do this. Okay. Then next he said, knowing that all sentient beings of the three times have been my mother. Because our life goes to the countless. And they are saying, which is first, chicken or egg? No. Without chicken, there's no egg. Without egg, there's no chicken. So it goes to the beginningless. You see? Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, but that's reality. So in that reality, so all sentient beings have been our mothers, or say our brother, our sister, our children. Whatever you love most, look at that. Then after that, I recall their kindness. So then recall if you love your mother, recall your mother's kindness. If you love your sister, brother, you call their kindness. Recall, reflect. When I was young, how much he or she took care of me. Have been very kind, very supportive. Look at that. Then wish to repay their kindness. So now is up. I have to repay their kindness. They have done so much to me. I have to repay. Reflect on this. So first, mother or anybody, first, they reflect on their kindness. And the third, first recall their kindness. Third, to repay their kindness. And then connect to them with the love. Then I wish they have all the peace and happiness. I love them all. May they have all the peace, may have peace and happiness. 4. Then 5th, I generate compassion for them, but they are under the suffering. So I develop compassion, desiring them to free from all the suffering. 5 point. And then Then the mindset to attain enlightenment for their sake, cultivation, bodhicitta. No? So these 6 go step by step, you see. That's how to train your mind. It's called training the mind. Sometimes they call 7-point. Before bodhicitta, it's called altruistic mind. No? You can put here as well. But the 6 are very important for our cultivation of the bodhicitta. First, recognizing all sentient beings, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your children, you see. Look at this. Then reflect their kindness. And then I have a responsibility to repay their kindness. Having taken that responsibility, then you develop love to all. You can't hate anybody. You know? Once you develop loving kindness, you see there's a compassion. This is what is called interdependent, interconnected. So cultivating bodhicitta has many causes, you see. These all causes are necessary to develop a genuine bodhicitta. Not just, I cultivate bodhicitta, like suddenly from nowhere, Cultivate bodhicitta with all these causes and conditions. See? Then, so I take all this mind training into the center of my heart. See, just bring into my heart center. Not just in the brain, in the office, but into your heart, you see. Meditate on this, practice this. It warms up your heart. Once your heart is warmed up, then there's a great peace. See? When there's a great peace, there's a great joy. So this is how you can bring joy and peace, happiness. This is the way Buddha taught us how to practice the path step by step. So as I mentioned, it's not a religious training. It is the training of the mind to gather all the causes of peace and happiness and to free from all the suffering. This is how you do it. Instead of just expecting it's kind of not some chanting mantras, So I chant mantras so that I get a peace. Sometimes you're so angry with your mala in your hand, Your face becomes red while your mala is in your hand, Or you have a prayer wheel, you hit on the other hand, Because your face becomes red, But if this way, if you practice, if you train step by step, that's what's called working with the cause. That's called action bodhicitta. See? Practice this way. Reflect on this way, Okay. Next is that without clinging or attachment, I give my entire bounty of resources and root of virtue to these kind mother. Now you see, you are a kind mother. your kind sister, your kind brother, your kind father, your kind children, whoever you have. So these all sentient beings are my brother, sister, my mother, my father, my children, you know. So this, you see. So I just dedicate all these to sentient beings. And in an authentic manner, see, like an illusion, like a mirage. These are very important practice, you see. Illusion means like magic show. A magician, they make their trick with the winding, this, you know, they make a trick, and then they display a lot of magic. So when you see them, it looks real, you know. Like sometimes they show chicken, a rabbit, you know. It looks like a real rabbit, real chicken, or real thing, you know. But they're not real. It's just illusion. And mirage, you see, from distance, when you look at, there's a river running, mirage. In the hot weather, when you drive in the road, the road you see sometimes, oh, maybe the rain just came out. So it's called mirage. So everything's like a mirage. Everything is just manifestation. Right now, I don't see myself as an illusory nature. I don't see myself as a mirage because I have self-grasping, self-cherishing, you see. But if I practice enough, I can realize myself as just illusory nature. I can realize myself as a mirage, just a manifestation. You remember when Milarepa went into the yak horn. Yak horn is very small. He entered into the yak horn. The horn was not bigger. He was not smaller, but he totally fit himself in that yak horn. So he realized totally, absolutely as a mirage, as an illusory nature. No? So this is first very important. In order to practice this one, I take on all their karma, afflictions, and suffering. So to do this kind of realization is very important. Without this realization, if you take their suffering, there's sometimes in the Tonglen, I'm sure you have heard of, many you have heard of. So I breathe in all the suffering into my heart, you say. Then after some time you are depressed. They say, what happened? I have a lot of depression. Why? Without knowing. Because you are kind of, with the kind of substantial. In the mind, you are feeling of seeing some substantial, real, So that side effects may come. So in order to free from that side effect, yourself, nothing but in the illusory nature, like a rainbow, like a bubble, like a mirage. As well, these afflictions are also just nothing. Their nature is emptiness. Their mental afflictions are just a mirage. And their suffering is just a mirage. With this, then Bodhichitta becomes so powerful. It becomes invincible Bodhichitta, indestructible Bodhichitta. With this, then you can practice this, bringing all the suffering of sentient beings into you, because there's no suffering, there's no sufferer, there's no one who suffers. But in the relative, you practice these things. Make sense? These are very important, Otherwise, you read there are a lot of books written, translations about Tonglen, So, let us practice Tonglen. Yeah, yes, let us breathe in all the sufferings into you. You breathe in all the afflictions into you. Then after some time, as I mentioned, you are depressed. So to free from this side effect, this practice is very important. That is recommended or teachings by Lord Jigme. So, of course, it is unmistaken, but we have to have a skill, wisdom. So meditate on these practice. Now, next, there's a four very important point that what we have to reflect on. In the life, in the samsara, individuals, so there's a negative condition called Geijin in Tibetan, Geljin. So this, like say, car accident or anything goes bad, negative conditions are spiritual teacher. They teach us something. They teach us something. Any negative things happens, instead of we just say, "Oh, this is bad," but just look at what it is teaching us or teaching to me. Or it's teaching me about the causality. Something I have created negative karma. So it shows me I have to purify. I should not create any more negative karma. So it's a teacher. It's, as mentioned, it's nothing to the spiritual, this, that, Dharma, Buddhism is everywhere. You can see this. So it's a spiritual teacher. Should see that. We should have the mindfulness on this. Then spirits and demons, sometimes demons are coming, spirits are coming. My door is knocking, there's somebody comes through my window, you will say that. So spirits, demons are emanation of conquerors because their nature is enlightened. They have Buddha nature. So Buddha nature, if you recognize, is the Buddha. So we have to have that kind of mindfulness, awareness. So seeing spirits and demons are emanation of conquerors. Sickness is a broom sweeping away defilement and obscuration. When you get sick, physically, mentally, whatever, headache, I always remember this. This is a purification. No, it's just taking away my negative karma that I've created. No. Now, it doesn't mean we should use the medicine. Of course, we take the medicine. If you are really great practitioner, fearless, then someday don't take medicine. But we as ordinary, we should take medicine. But while you are having pain, mentally you can practice this. Such a precious, great opportunity. So it's showing there's nothing to waste. Like say, we have a compost. A very smelly compost there. Oh, I can't look at it. It's so unclean. The smell is so bad. But if that compost, if you take to the field, sprinkled there, it becomes the best fertilizer to grow a beautiful flower, to harvest such a, all those corns, all those good things, So everything goes in the life, good or bad, are they, can't say, it is a condition that we should recognize how to apply into our Dharma practice, how to purify our mental afflictions, purify our own discursive thoughts. Just all suffering are dharmata waves. So suffering, the nature, dharmata wave means emptiness. It's just a manifestation. It doesn't mean there's no pain. There's a pain, but that pain is just a manifestation of many causes and conditions. So great Bodhisattvas, they have no fear to go to the hell realm to benefit sentient beings there. Because they have totally realized the emptiness. They have no fear. See? So that's what means all suffering are dharmatas, waves. Great Bodhisattvas have no fear. So we understand that. In the Heart Sutra, we have this, no fear. When you practice the emptiness of the wisdom, and say, no wisdom, no fear. So there's no fear. It doesn't mean there's no suffering. There's a suffering, there's a pain, but Bodhisattva has no fear to face that. That's called courage. So there's a difference, you see. Some are very, bold mind, no fear, but out of stupid. Some very stupid has no fear. They have no fear to jump from the cliff. But Bodhisattvas, whose no fear is seeing the nature of the fear, suffering. It's just a manifestation. It's just a wave, wave of the karma. None of this are constituted as real. They're just within the state of the emptiness, wisdom. So these are the mind training Okay, so it's mentioned these four. These four are very important point in the Lojong training. So, negative condition, the spirits and demons, sickness, and suffering. So these, they just come in our life, in our daily life, So when this happens, we have to have a wisdom, mindfulness, how to relate, or how to practice the mind. So the mind training, so that our ignorance, our aversion, our attachment, all are purified, wipe out. So step by step, see. Then next is purification. Here comes. We need a lot of purification. How much there's a problem in the samsara? All those come from our negative karma, negative thoughts, action. So it's purified without remainder in the presence of the Buddha. So look at whatever you are practicing. Buddha, great masters, Yidam deities, whoever you have in front of that, and say any type of fault or downfall, if you just reflect what kind of negative karma I have created, what kind of fault I have, or mental afflictions, all this, natural or imposed. Natural means if somebody has not taken any vows, but if they create a negative karma, it has consequences. And imposed means like if you took some vows and you broke the vows, that was called imposed. So that any committed by body, speech, and mind, physically taking life, stealing, speech, telling lie, divisive speech, and mind, like, ignorance, and aversion, attachment, so forth, under the control of the three poisons, you see, under the control of three poisons. Using the four powers of remorse. Remorse means feeling of, say, not right. I made mistake, that's not right. I must take care of that. It's called remorse. Then resolve. I will never do again. I will not repeat again this. Then antidote, all the remedies, like chanting mantras, saying prayers, the practice of the emptiness, so forth, and relying on the refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, relying on the Bodhichitta, emptiness. So through these four powers, purify all the obscurations without exception. And not only yours, as a practitioner of the Bodhichitta, you just say, I purify all the sentient beings' negative karma, obscurations, in front of these Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. I'm representing all sentient beings. Sometimes you can say they don't know how to purify. So I will represent all the sentient beings and purify all the sentient beings' suffering, cause of suffering, mental afflictions. So that's such a precious thing. Meditate on this. So that helps purify our negative karma. no, that purifies so forcefully. This is such a precious thing. Milarepa said once you have done negative karma, can it be purified? Milarepa said, yes. When you reflect on the virtue, when you remorse, then you can purify. So this, you see. Then next is purifying in the sense of the Mahamudra step, you see. In the sky of mind as it is, see, no sky outside, there's a true sky or space. Outside space, sky, inside space. This is the inside space. Your mind is the space. No boundary. It's called unconfined, unconfined vastness. There's no boundary. See? So that is an expanse free of center or edge. There's no boundary. There's no center. Center and edge are relative. Without edge, there's no center. Without center, there's no edge. He is free from all the boundaries. So the mind is like a space. So in that Mahamudra nature, cloud of adventitious conceptual thoughts condense. The cloud gathers in the space. So all the adventitious defilements or afflictions that gathers in the mind. So this all now from these, the confusion of duality arises from these adventitious conceptual thoughts or adventitious defilement, adventitious bewilderment, mental afflictions. Duality arises, and then various karma begin to accumulate. Then from there, we create negative karma. And then start all the suffering, undesirable suffering. So see, these purify these in the transparent, non-referential experience of Dharmata. These all are not exist like a cloud in the sky. The cloud manifests from the sky, dissolved into the sky. It goes to nowhere. The wave of the ocean manifests from the ocean, is dissolved into the ocean. There's no any distinguishing. The wave in the water is just water. So the cloud is just within in the sky. All these mental afflictions are within in the mind. As soon as when you have such great wisdom, there exists nowhere. So meditate in this and the non-referential. They come from nowhere, they abide nowhere, they dissolve to nowhere. It's there because my mental dualistic thoughts, dualistic conceptual thoughts, within that exist. As soon as when the dualistic mental thoughts are dissolved into emptiness, none of these exist. So I purify all this within that state of the Mahamudra, that there's nothing to purify. It's something like a little contradiction, it contradicts, you see, exist, not exist, So that existence, the exist is exists within in the emptiness, which is non-existence, you see. So, you are a Mahamudra practitioner. I think you understand very easily. So anyway, you see, this all a display, of emptiness. So the purification, the two, the first, with the duality, the object, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and this subject, one who does the purification, and there's something to purify. This relative state, we purify this all, in the Bodhichitta, for the benefit of all sentient beings. Then as a practitioner, step by step, go higher and higher. Then in the Mahamudra state, this is how you purify. So, now next is parameters. First, there's a 6 parameters. Parameter means perfection, transcendental wisdom. So there are 6 topics, as you know. Generosity is practice of giving. Giving not just only wealth, giving wisdom, giving skill, giving patience. All this, giving fearlessness, giving loving kindness. All this practice giving is such a practice of joy. It's a joyous practice. And moral conduct, you see, Shila, avoiding all the non-virtues and protecting, keeping all the virtuous method. That's called moral conduct. So morality. Forbearance means patience. You bear the difficulty things. When enemy comes towards you, we are so defensive because we have fear. But here, with Bodhichitta, loving kindness, compassion, you have such great courage. There's no fear. So you bear that kind of dangerous thing. You have no fear. So because you reduce our self-cherishing, as earlier mentioned, more purified our self-cherishing, then there's less fear. So when there comes the practice of patience, forbearance, perseverance, joyous effort, then you practice this joyfully towards the enlightenment, towards the Buddhahood. All the practice of Bodhisattva especially, you have such great joy, feeling of I'm so privileged, I'm so fortunate, I have this practice. With the full of joy, you practice, that's called perseverance. And in meditative concentration, unwavering the mind. No matter what kind of obstacle comes, you never waver your mind. Meditative concentration. And wisdom awareness, seeing everything as illusory nature. Everything functions within the emptiness. And emptiness manifests in all different forms according to the causality. So with these 6 transcendent actions, the highway of the conqueror of the 3 times. This is the highway towards the enlightenment. This action, Bodhichitta, it's called action. Now we are putting action with these 3 topics: generosity, moral ethics, and see the perseverance, not perseverance, patience, forbearance, and then diligent or perseverance, and then meditative concentration, wisdom. So these 6 topics are the what you call consummate path towards enlightenment, Buddhahood. Realize the twofold selflessness, the self of the person, self of the phenomenon. These two are realized that they are not exist. There we cannot find nowhere these two selves. Only just so confused we are holding this. But in reality, they are not exist anywhere. So this realization comes from the practice of the 6 paramita, and that allows one to become Buddha. So everyone knows this. But here just reminding. Then next is the 10 paramitas now. 10 paramita says generosity is the all desires, wish-granting jewel, you see. Practice of giving. That's called giving is receiving, When you give, means you just give, and then result is there for you. The result is just waiting for you. It's interdependent, interconnected. That's called causality. Giving is receiving. It's such a beautiful word, you see. Whatever you give, you get the benefit. Especially if you give with the bodhicitta, that becomes limitless, countless. You dedicate this for the freedom of all sentient beings from suffering to attain Buddhahood. Then moral contact, the stairway to temporary higher status and liberation, means next to reborn in the precious human life, in the God realm. If you want to reborn in the higher realm, it's a practice of moral ethics. Don't rely on just prayer. Can you say some prayers to reborn in such higher realm, So yes, you can chant some mantras. We never know, There's no guarantee, But if you practice the moral ethics, it is guaranteed. Because you have accumulated the cause. When there's a cause, the result is guaranteed. See, if you make a fire, there's a guarantee of the heat. You see, without a fire, no matter how much you expect, I hope there's some heat, I hope the heat may come, You pray all night, it doesn't come, you see. So this moral content is so important. It's the foundation for the higher life. It's a foundation for enlightenment, liberation. It's called liberation means enlightenment. Saravaka enlightenment, Partiputa enlightenment, Buddhahood enlightenment. It's the moral conduct. And forbearance, the patience, is the beautiful and resilient, mighty Mount Meru. To practice the patience, we need like a Mount Meru. No matter what the obstacles comes, unbeatable. You see. So this, you see, this parameters makes practitioner strong, you see. Not so kind of fragile. Otherwise, in the samsara, we're all so fragile, very easy to kind of get scared, very easy to be angry, but practice of six paramitas is, generosity, moral conduct, the forbearance, or the, patience makes you really strong. Not out of stupid or analysis, but wisdom, no fear. See? So that makes that how it becomes so beautiful. When you have no anger in the mind, that person is so beautiful. It's resilient. There's a dignity on that. See, perseverance, hands scooping up the jewel of enlightened qualities. You see, perseverance, diligence is the way how to accumulate all the Buddha's wisdom. It's like your hand collecting all the jewels, So read, study, practice these meditations, and then your mind becomes so rich, rich of wisdom, rich of perseverance. See, meditative concentration is a fine mansion where one may rest from the afflictions. Mind is a fine mansion, means fine complex, special palace you built, very secluded place, so peaceful. So meditative concentration is like that, very protective palace. There's no any fear, danger, nothing but peace, tranquility. Wisdom awareness, a bright lamp dispelling the gloom of the two obscurations. Here, wisdom, special insight, is a special light that dispels all the darkness. Like when you go to in the basement, there's no light, very dark. You don't see anything. But as soon as you light on, you can see all so precisely. So wisdom is like that. When we don't know anything about Samsara, we have no idea. We are so stupid in the causality. We don't know what's right, what's wrong. But as soon as when you have the wisdom, knowing about the causality and their natural emptiness, then you can see you have all the opportunity to do all the right thing, purifying all the obscurations. So that's called kindling the light. It's very important, you see. And the seventh supreme method is a wise man filling up his treasury with the true accumulation. The supreme method is called skillful means. All the things what you do becomes a method to accumulate merit. Like if you eat food, you make offering to the deities, to the yidam. If you drink a cup of water, you make offering. This all becomes a special method to accumulate the merit, to accumulate the wisdom. That's called supreme method. Skillful means that aspiration, the eighth, a wish-granting tree that completes the two benefits. First, you say you aspire. Session means free from suffering. You aspire sentient beings to have all the peace and happiness. Now you practice that step by step through this action, Bodhichitta. When you achieve the 8th Bhumi, the Bodhisattva, now all this practice now that is coming as a fruition, even before become Buddha. So, complete the true benefit of oneself, being free from suffering. And then you have every ability to benefit others. It's called true benefits. And then 9th, supreme strength is the warrior victorious over the 4 maras, you see. You know the 4 maras. The mara affliction, mental affliction, mara of the skandha, mara of the Devaputra, mara at the time of death, Chidakadu. From all this, the first mara, mental affliction, is the root of all the rest. Mara, demon. No. The mental affliction is such a demon. It ruins all your mental peace and happiness because it is dualistic. A dualistic grasping oneself, cherish oneself, grasping others as to oppose others. And we suffer within that. So we need to purify this mara, mental afflictions. When this is purified, then mara of the skandha is purified. Then mara of the Devaputra, all this now, like 8 worldly concerns, all those are purified. And then mara at the time of death, mara of the death is also purified. So it says here, supreme strength, the wisdom strength, has such a great strength to comprehend these maras. And these maras are totally purified. So it's a warriors. This is called courage. So I'm sure you have heard of when you realize all sentient beings as your mother, your sister. At that time, you have nothing but only love. And compassion. So that's called power warrior. And then these all sentient beings as your mother, brothers, sisters, their nature is emptiness. It's called Dakini. Pao and Dakini. Dakini means sky flower, means flyer. Sky flyer means emptiness, wisdom, realizing everything, nothing but nature of emptiness, wisdom, realizing everything, emptiness through that wisdom. So that is what is now here, what's about it. Supreme strength is a warrior victorious over the 4 maras. Then the 10th, primordial wisdom. As we have studied about these 4 dharmas of Kampupa, the last one, the last one, the confusion known as the wisdom. So this is what it's saying. Primordial wisdom. Ambrosial medicine that realizes the nature of mental affliction. See, all the mental afflictions, nothing but empty. They not exist as something substantial. So that realization comes from that great wisdom. So these are the 10 paramitas relate to the 10 bhumis. So all the mental afflictions, just simple, just see, when you have anger in the mind, you are so angry with something. And then suddenly you see, you are angry with somebody. And when that person apologizes you, oh, I'm sorry, I made this mistake. And then your anger is just disappear. Where's gone? No, where disappeared? It disappeared to nothing. And you realize that there's nothing to be angry about. It's just a manifestation, manifest through the confusion. So the wisdom we need is to reflect on this. These all confusions, they are nothing but it's empty. As soon as you realize that nature is empty, then there's nothing to be attached to, angry about. It's all because it's mental display. So that's why wisdom is so important. That's how you can know how to transform the samsara into wisdom, or see the nature of samsara as the nirvana. That's how the practice is about. So I think we did well, and I'm sure you have meditating while I'm talking, or while I was talking. I hope you got some benefit from this, and or those who have studied, reminded, some reminding, oh yes, I have studied those things. Now it makes it more clear. So you need to repeat again and again and again. Then you start getting the benefit. You see, that's the Dharma practice is about. Reflect, never give up. No, all the way just go. Okay. Any questions? Any suggestions?
Kenshin, I have a question, not about today necessarily, but the other day you had mentioned the Samadhi Raja Sutra, and I can't seem to find it published anywhere. Does anyone know where to get a hold of a copy of that?
Just you dig the internet.
I can't even find it on the internet.
Okay, then you have to wait for some time. I don't know,
Okay.
Yeah, so because I have in Tibetan, so I don't need internet. Any first you see, just please take a deep breath. Inhale fully. Expand your chest and stomach. And exhale all the tension. Just relax. And then please refresh this morning, just briefly. about the nature of the samsara, as I mentioned, how our mind is distorted within the confusion. Every one of us in the samsara, how much we go through this, helplessly suffering. So to heal this, our Buddha talked all those Dharma teachings, wisdom. As I repeatedly mentioned, it's not just a religion. It's not just a Buddhism. It's the complete method. Like say, every country has their constitution, you know. Oh, there's a constitution. So this Buddha's is Buddha's constitution. How to free from the samsara. How to help achieve all the peace and happiness. A complete method, you see, not just a little bit this, that, has the complete. Because Buddha totally realized everything. So it's the constitution of the mind. No. When Buddha explains about the suffering of the samsara, it's the constitution of samsara. When Buddha explains about the nirvana, it's the constitution of the enlightenment. So please understand that. No. So our interest, we should understand, not just today, if I'm happy, I'm okay, you know. So it's 24 hours. No. 24 hours, 30 days, or 4 weeks, 12 months. It's a complete cycle. See? So that's how Buddha's teaching is. Then reflect on the Bodhichitta, as I briefly mentioned about Bodhichitta. Then after that, all the mind training, we have to train the mind step by step through the relative state. Very important, through the relative state. If we are not well trained in the relative state, in the absolute estimation, it becomes dangerous. Oh, I'm a Mahamudra practitioner, full of ego, you know. I'm, you know, you say, you are just kindergarten, I'm a Mahamudra practitioner, you know. Or I'm a Vajrayana practitioner, you are lesser, you know. It's very dangerous. We have to take care of all, that's why step by step. So mind training in the relative state. Then mind training in the absolute state. We got this step by step. And then I mentioned here briefly about the purification. All the negative and negative karmas we created, purify. It's very good news, you know. We purify as much as we can. It's very good news, you know. In the samsara, there's no one who haven't made a mistake, you know. So if somebody says, you cannot purify, what do you do? Then we just suffer, you know. But before that happens, we purify. Then you see, 6 parameters reflect on that. All the details, they are described in many books you can read, like say, Jewel Ornament of Liberation. It's a beautiful book that describes the 6 parameters so in a complete way, beautiful way, you know. Then you see these 10 parameters. Look at these and meditate. Then at the end, dedicate. All the practice what we have done, so all this practice, all the virtues, all the benefit I got, I share to all other sentient beings. May everyone attain Buddhahood. Just share that, dedicate that way. No, it's such a precious thing. Yeah.
Hello, Kenshin.
Yes, speaking.
It's Davelia.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I have heard that the five paramitas really become paramitas through the 6th of wisdom.
Yes.
You know, and so I was wondering, in your daily life, you know, how, you know, you work with making the 5, you know, become the paramitas, you know, the first 5, like, is it, you know?
Yes. So, paramita is a Sanskrit word, you know. Paramita is a Sanskrit word. When you translate that, or first use the param, the word explained this way. Param ita. Param means beyond. Ita is to get there. Get to the beyond means cross the border of the samsara. So that is how it can become is because of wisdom. When you have the wisdom, realizing, like the practice of giving, the giver, the gifts, the subject to gift, all are just the duality state. When you realize this all are illusory nature, then you give these things to others with the bodhichitta to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment, but you give with the non-attachment, no expectation. So non-attachment, no expectation can come through only realizing the emptiness. You see, that becomes the paramita. So all the rest is like that.
Thank you.
Yes, Steve. I don't hear.
Yes, Kenshin, my question is, I have been asked by people who are trying to help a loved one pass from this life to the next one to do POA. Is that something that's appropriate?
You can do POA, of course. And sometimes there's a POA course. Some teacher, some teacher or great masters, they teach POA. Yes, POA. Yes.
You taught this to us in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Remember the Self-Realization Fellowship? I still have that teaching. and I still do that teaching.
Okay. So you said.
Okay. It's okay, then I can say that for people who, when they say he's having problems letting go of this life, would you say a prayer for him? I can use the POA.
Yes, I will say prayers, yeah, no doubt, yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's always very helpful. People tell him when he does, that the person goes easily. So it's beautiful.
Oh, yes, exactly. These are so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Letting go.
Yes.
Yes.
This is the whole practice. Letting go means release our grasping, our fixation.
Yes.
That comes from our ego, self, you know. Because release the self. Self-expression.
A lot of times too, I think people have fear that they don't know what's there. So if you say, well, there's Dewa Chen, then they're like, oh, yes.
Exactly. So there's such great relief when you practice Bodhichitta, you know.
Yes.
The Pure Land.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
There's such great opportunities.
Yes.
That's why Dharma is such a joyous practice.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Thank you so much, Kenshin.
Yeah, it's not just, as mentioned, religious training, you know. It's a practice for the decent people, okay? Very decent, who knows well causality, how to become a better human being, how to be less harm, more benefit, you see. All the good things that what we need in the world is teachers in the Dharma.
Would you give a poet teaching on Zoom?
Possible in the future, not yet. Has to have a lot of work to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Rinpoche.
So everyone, I want to say thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yeah, from Seattle, you are early there, so wonderful. Tracy, you know. And
thank you, Kenshin.
Yes, thank you so much for your participation. And please continue your study practice. So for the time being, we don't have now a special program unless it comes up, you know.
It's next Saturday.
Okay, now we need to say some dedication prayers. Who will say the dedication prayer?
Bonnie is going to.
Yes.
And Rinpoche is doing a short one Saturday. Next Saturday.
Great Vajradhara, Talopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord, Gampopa, Pakmodrupa, and Conqueror Drikongpa, please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessings of all you Kagyu gurus. By this merit, may I achieve the all-knowing state. May all who wander in the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating enemies of faults and illusions. By the virtues collected in the 3 times in samsara and nirvana, and the innate virtue, and in the primordially co-emergent mandala of the mind, may I realize the exalted intention of Jingten Gompo, the indivisibility of the 2 truths in the exalted form of Vajradhara. Bodhichitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise, Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase, higher and higher. I pray for the excellent health of the gurus, and may the guru's supreme life be long. May the guru's activities spread far and wide, and may I be blessed not to be separated from the gurus. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of Samsara and Nirvana, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious awakening. May the teachings of the great Durkungpa Ratnashri, the all-knowing Dharma Lord, Master of Interdependence, continue to increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Rinpoche's volume is off.
Here now, I'm just saying I'm grateful. Thank you, Dr. Jimmy Wangpo, for his spontaneous, simultaneous translation. And anybody who does this.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Once again, thank you.
Just
Thank you, Linda.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
yeah, great. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenji.
Gracias, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Thank you, Khenchen Lo.
Yes, Paul, yes.
Take care,
Yeah, you take care.
everyone.
Yeah, you take care all Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Khenchen.
Bye.
Much appreciation, Rinpoche.
Yes. Yes, Steve Morris.